Hi, my name is Elena, and today I'm going to be talking about the two different approaches to elder care that Rosemary Tong talks about in an article, Long-Term Care for Elderly People Globally, from Global Bioethics Reader. So first, I want to start off with defining the two different approaches that she talks about, which is duty and affection. So according to Tong, duty approach to elder care focuses on caregiving because we are morally obligated to do so. It's pretty much fulfilling a responsibility. An example would be like a child taking care of their parent whenever they are sick or ill or aging, because they are required or expected to do so, not necessarily because they feel like it. In this view, care is something that we owe to the elderly when they are in a vulnerable state, which puts them in a place to be dependent on us, and we as individuals acknowledge that we owe the duty to take care for those who are in need. The affection approach to elder care, on the other hand, is more based on genuine connection and emotional bonds and love. People provide care not because they have to, but because they want to. That's the difference with the affection approach. It's motivated by gratitude, compassion, and kindness, and especially close personal connections. So how are these two approaches similar and different? So I want to first start off with talking about how they are similar. Their main similarity is the fact that they are both rooted in the acknowledgement that elderly people deserve care. What drives the difference between those two is the motivation behind it. So duty emphasizes obligation, while affection emphasizes emotional connection. So duty might be more impersonal and can be a little bit hesitant at times, while affection tends to be more personal and has a more heartfelt desire to care for those who are in need, especially when they mean something to you. So moving on to the ethical theories that these approaches fit into. So for the duty approach, I have came to the conclusion that the duty approach fits more into the Kantian ethics. Kant emphasizes the importance of duty and acting according to moral principles. And the big thing about it is you act for these moral principles regardless of your emotions. In this case, caring for the elderly because we have to do it and it's our obligation to take care of them, respects the moral law regarding his ethics. I also want to say that it relates to the natural law theory a little bit because it states that we have inherent responsibilities to uphold to the common good, and that common good also includes taking care of those who are in need. So I came to the conclusion that the affection approach tends to be more of an Aristotelian approach. Aristotle believed that moral actions come from good character and virtues, and those virtues include love, kindness, compassion, gratitude. In the affection model, care for the elderly people flow more naturally because of the virtues that we develop through emotional connection, which hence is affection-driven care. Affection care isn't driven by obligation whatsoever, it's driven by good character, which is a really big statement for the Aristotelian virtue ethics. So moving on to which approach I prefer, I want to say that the affection approach is more up my alley. It's more something that I believe in. I think caring out of affection respects the autonomy for elderly people. It seems to be less of an obligation and more of something that we deeply feel connected to, something that we empathize with. Not only that, the affection-driven care really focuses on seeing elderly individuals as people, and we value and cherish that. That also really gives a big hint to their own personal autonomy with the affection-driven care. So moving on from a normative ethical perspective, I think the Aristotelian virtue ethics, like I mentioned earlier, fits more into the affection-driven care. I think it supports the affection approach because I think doing the bare minimum or checking off a checklist for the duty that we have to serve to the elderly individuals doesn't really fulfill the virtues that we create, like empathy and compassion, which is really important when we are taking care of individuals who may sometimes feel like they can be a burden where we need to create a space for them to feel like they are their own person, and we are there to help, not because we need to or because it is our duty to do so, but because it's the kindness out of our heart and it holds more compassion. Also, this model addresses vulnerability more holistically. To get into that, it just pretty much means managing the vulnerabilities of aging through a checklist of responsibilities, which the affection approach doesn't do. It doesn't make it seem like we have a checklist to really get through, like mentioned earlier, making them feel like it's a duty for us to take care of them. It creates an environment where elderly people are acknowledged fully, not just the basis of their disabilities or their declining aging, but more so them as people and how we can thrive, how they can thrive in the care that they are in. Also, I want to say that consent plays a major role in the affection-driven care, which is very important because to building good relationships, mutual respect needs to be present, where elderly individuals can actively participate in their own autonomous decisions, and we as people with the affection-driven care opinion tend to preserve that. On the other hand, I do want to acknowledge that duty-driven care is also very important because it really does a good job of not neglecting care that elderly people deserve and that we owe. It's very important to acknowledge both of these approaches because the main goal is for caring for individuals who are in need. However, I personally believe the affection approach stands more with me, and I feel like plays a really big role in doing more than just taking care of someone, but understanding them as people.